health. I had a friend who had a son like that. She did all that she could. There was a time she went to the river, left the boy there, came to stand there waiting for the river to come pick the boy. So she called back to tell me that I'm foul, so I brought the boy back home. But eventually, she got up one day and called me, thanking God that the guy is gone. As to how he died, I can't tell. But I think she did that because of the stigma and how people treated her son. So how do we deal with that misconception and the way we see such children? How do we deal with that?
Thank you, Angela. We have a very long way to go. We have a long way to go. I don't think we are doing much. I think we need more public education. Public education, because I'm sure the mother had never heard about autism before. I'm sure she had never heard about it. But then if they are diagnosed early and then we put in the behavioral therapy, the occupational therapy, they do well for themselves. They become independent. And one thing with autism that I forgot to mention is that they may present with other syndromes like Down syndrome, Ehlers-Danlos, and then other syndromes which may be quite, I would say, embarrassing for the mother. The mother may not understand why she has given birth to such a child, but then early medical treatment will really help, because if they come with other associated like hole in hearts, which we need medical interventions to improve quality of life. So I think public education is the main goal. We have to publicize and talk about it. I don't think they're talking about it enough.
Okay, so the next question is that, sorry, but let's say you're talking about when they are diagnosed. Let me put it that way. With the lady that I just cited as an example, it was after she went for Christmas, like 3 months, and she started noticing the differences. So she quickly attributed it to a woman who held the baby when she went to church. That the boy wasn't like that until that woman carried him. So anything about medicine she won't accept because she's been told that it's a spiritual thing. Can't there be some checks at the hospital, or the symptoms will not be known until a period? Other than that, maybe I feel when the first day of delivery, as they go there to take for neonatal jaundice and other things, can't they do the assessment to know that we have identified this and this is how you are going to go about it? Because the moment you allow the mother to send the baby home and it happens, home doctors will tell her that mommy na autism, and after she holding the baby, that brought it, or it's your mother-in-law who doesn't want you to marry the son who brought that thing up. So can't there be something be done at the hospital before we go?
What you are saying is very true. So currently, we don't screen for autism at our hospitals. It's not done. It's not done. I think it's something we have to work on. We all have to work on so that it can be included. Maybe from 18 months, we have the screening tools there, and then the midwives who are the attending them will just be thinking, is your son avoiding eye contact? Is he babbling? Is he playing? Like we have to. Is he fixated on something? It's a whole screening tool. I think we have to include it, but it's not a very long. It's just a paper. But I'm not part of the policy makers, and I don't know how we can go about it. Yes. Maybe we need something has to be done. It won't take much. It won't take much. We all have to work on it. We all have to work on it. Because the child will come with immunizations and all that. Outside, they just put the screening tool and then start ticking, and then. But one thing about the Western world that they are also overdiagnosing. They are overdiagnosing. But Ghana, we are not doing anything at all. They are not doing anything at all. So it's something we'll look at. We will look at. Maybe from my end at the hospital, we'll try and start something. And then we'll see if the other Ministry of Health or Ghana Health Service will also pick it up.
Thank you very much. Mine is actually not a question. I just want to introduce you.
More suggestion in addition to what Amanda has just said. I believe in the Western world, their superpower is education. And in Africa, ours is religion. And I got to realize that our religious leaders have most influence on our environment than I don't know what to say. So on the side of the public education, I think if we can do something for our religious leaders, especially our pastors and priests, and they are knowledgeable on these, I believe when they educate us in our various religious organizations, we can take it because I realize that whatever they tell us as Ghanaians, we may believe them more than what our professors teach us in class. Thank you.
Hospital. I think after the babies are born, and they have something like a newborn screening like that. So some babies might be suffering from the blood asphyxia, like that shortage of oxygen for that period. So when kids have those conditions and then they are deprived of the oxygen, they have this low developmental, and that yes, developmental condition or something. So they are likely to have autism. So I think from that moment, most health sectors should pay attention to those things because it's really new bad. Because they might think with time will be okay. People might be suffering from genital jaundice and those maternal together and then those things, but then they just overlook it. And like they come for screening, or maybe they do their hearing assessment and they pass or they fail, they go and come again, but there are no special things. So I think if you look into those conditions, when you pay more attention to those things, I think it will go a long way longer. So they should be limited to the big hospitals like commercial and those things. The other clinics and then when they have hospitals. Because when they deliver them, like when they're having the oxygen deprivation thing, by the time you take them or be taking transfer, you go over the hospital next 2 weeks. Next 2 weeks, you know, not the way I'm planning. Please do understand. I think we should just pay attention to those. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Please, let's give it up to Dr. Anderson. I thought we want to host you on a program next week at the Sunday, so please, so they can throw more lights on this for the entire nation. Once again, Doc, thank you very much. Please, before we have our panel discussion, we have a parents who have a boy with autism. They have the experience, they have gone through the process. Fortunately, we have them in our midst, so we would want them to come over and share their experiences with us. They would have to switch dialects so that at least they can really express themselves.
In fact, it is. Meaning saying, in your 9 months, all right. Until after 9 months, I will become. Because hospital, you will see us. After 3 days, I don't have to say, or we are not so okay to baby. I feel if you are not money to baby, they will know a 4.5. It was all right. Now, I never say, or me, or here, maybe you must have my job is a cat. Me, one minute journalist. If you answer the guy, you're best here, you're very real. At some moment, I was young children's word. They're quite honest that I had too much. I just said, the color, maybe not that you grow to me, even that far, we couldn't hear from your back. Or call out, yes, this video job is again. There is only transfer if you talk about government hospital, go if you have that. Then it's Saturday. The Ben Monday, Monday, Yamian, buy me a boy. You quite know, say, transfer motor, idiot. We have a call free hand by if you're near the Ghana, you. Sometimes we have to chill more red until I'm the age of. Here is our Johnny fee who we and some of the Muslim about to me so no foreign crown. For my beginning, no, did you all right? You but 3 days in our shasta or John must be I did the hour. If you want, then we Yabafi, Peno, Neriano, a black man in a womb. Many madame are on a way. The banana 3 months, no atlantic, 4 months, not wash at him, but you find your on your ship. Many are doing that. Many be drawn so. And I'm in hospital because the baby, okay, no, the baby, we need to pay. Also, the baby, come on. But I will not 4 months, but madame says, I have your bank. I said, it's our war. And so, it's it, and my mind will be back so. I'm just saying, the bedroom, the bedroom, hospital is not fair, we say, go physical therapy. See, the look at that, and who said, what's meant to us. It's 9 months, no shots or we are. That they will be back 19 by a woman of 19. That's Michelle Moon, they said, a day. Timmy, wow, Dovena, 1.5 years. For over 6 months, 1.5 years in one for shots or 19. That day, they didn't a chest and said, the able heavy if you have that though, but your son, another one. You grew a two. You said 10 times. One brush in the banana. I am effect, and young, and yeah, easy. They say I'm in each way. Of course, who are as to me, age of 15, and offer highest than young Jane. While Bam is in crime, if you are about to try, I try me. And so, but me that's a school nobody. Minimum school, as a member of the if you say I'm going to show you. You should hear me better. Or is it going to but we need idea. Let's not know. If you have another program and who say Madame to stay at work or something, if you have another program, or I don't know yet. So, yes, that's an who said, there, but they want to be a member. And I'm going to buy any baby program. But if you say, one and much what I say. And then you see, about time we get us out and it's there. Why are you baby on school? I just to hospital one. I said, we see break now, come by in the fashion. Because Uraha, you say, you could put it together because of lab needs. If you do a hospital, won't know lab, no one giving you. I just open another hospital. Where lab to a different go to or more than our banner. Tineniati, such a got some or back to now, channels and another work. Maybe that's a American, maybe women young passion now, hospital. It's one was a immigrant user bro. I felt for my trial as well. Bocha, at the year, only when you miss a cat. It's Mr. Ramon. Mom, 1 year back to school, and you teach to granty. Was there to be also go to school again? From my school more 1 year. Now, maybe the age will be a one. And then I said, I did some more. Maybe be a strategy. Just then, if you are like you over to things, I only need 2 more days to obey you. I do a guitar or a J. And one man in the area getting with you. They TV. They say, I get to go to right. Obey, I said, look, I say, class 5, sorry, for classes, but that I'm not Emma to operate the money from them or Cassava and Papa. The Mr. Monty and a engage your baby, mimicry a band. Then a bear, making your own movement to be walking na brother. And there's not a 7 mammy cruise. Or go up or go down our check.
near our phone and they see who will grab it, they say, oh, fuck, and I'm not crying, and then can be seen and go for. See, what's in here to stand on all we are relaxing. Now, the day from all this starts, let's give it up to. And I hope that some of these questions and the understanding the panel will be able to address. Dr. Elizabeth, I think in your submission, Dr. Elizabeth, in your submission, I think you made mention that KN University Hospital will start to do something, and we monitor, please. All of us will be monitoring. Of course, so we will be monitoring to ensure it comes to reality. So once again, thank you for that assurance. Good. So we want to call on Auntie Pearl to lead the next session. Thank you.
Thank you. Shall we give a round of applause again for a family, a parent of someone living with autism? So we appreciate you. Thank you so much. We've heard from the medical side as well, and we also want to explore ways in which we can support. So we're going to hear from different professionals as well. I would like to invite our first panelist in the name of Madame Ekia Efriye Adai. Please let's clap for her. She's a senior clinical psychologist and lecturer at KNUST, and she serves as the head of training and internships at the KNUST Counseling Center. She's been providing psychological services for nearly 15 years. Please, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much, Madam Ekia. Next on the list, we have Dr. Nectar Pashram. Let's give her a round of applause. So Dr. Pashram is a medical doctor, a multi-award-winning journalist, and the comms lead for the Global Health and Infectious Diseases Center and the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research in Tropical Medicine, and the African Research Network for Neglected Tropical Diseases. She also holds an MPH in Global Health and Non-Communicable Diseases with a focus on health policy and research communications. As a health respondent for Multimedia Group Limited, Dr. Pashram writes and reports on health, science, research, and technology, and her role involves presenting work and research findings to partners and the larger community as well. Let's give her another round of applause. Thank you so much, Dr. Nectar. Next on our panelists, last but definitely not the least, we have Mr. Derek Frimpong, a special needs educator at Al Rayyan International School. Mr. Derek has launched the maiden edition of his project, Is That the Possible Project? With a possible project here, he hopes to incite younger students to succeed in their education as well. He's also held 2 TEDx talk shows and has passion for supporting students with special needs. He's also a musician, actually, so let's give him a round of applause as well. Thank you so much. And myself, the moderator, please give me a round of applause. Thank you. So we're here today with our able leads just to have a brief discussion on autism, the theme for this year, and also to hear from different angles about how best to support persons living with autism. So I will hand over the microphone. Do we have another microphone? Do we have another microphone? So that for this year, worldwide is celebrating neurodiversity. So we have some general questions. Neurodiversity includes all the aspects of the autism spectrum. So we are here to just educate ourselves as well and see how best we can also learn and what we can do in our community. So, yeah, the first question I would ask, what does neurodiversity mean to you, and how it relates to the broader goal of inclusion?
Right, so neurodiversity, let me just say that coming from a psychological perspective, sometimes we are more focused on what's the right way to use the deficits, disabilities, but we are shifting. And as the woman and the son with the lived experience talk about, see that he said her child is able to do something very well, So it's about understanding that at this time that we find ourselves in, it's more about celebrating or seeing the differences in neurology, people's nervous system, such that it's like people are processing information differently now. So instead of focusing on the deficits, on the weaknesses, why don't we celebrate the differences, look at inclusive ways? For example, there are policies that may say that we should give everybody an opportunity, create a good environment, So as a society, we have to make the adjustments. We have to make sure that we put structures in place to accommodate the differences that people with autism have. I was watching a video of one Ghanaian woman who has set up an autistic school, and he was educating the public on how, if you come to her school, you see the various levels, the severity. He has some that are this, that, and he's placed some in such a way that they have even been able to mainstream them, so that they can have education like everybody else. So the idea is, let's recognize these differences, let's accept them, create a better environment so that we can have an inclusive education for all. That will be my take.
Thank you so much, Madam Ekwe. And for Dr. Pasha, we'd like to ask, how can we dismantle the stigma around autism in communities, especially the angle that you're coming in as a medical journalist? What can we do to dismantle that stigma?
All right, thank you so much for the question. So I believe that it's obvious we are not doing enough generally in terms of educating the public, educating ourselves. In fact, during the presentation of the clinical presentation, one of the statistics was that even the nurses, the knowledge about autism in the hospitals is not high enough. So how much more in the communities, right? And so I believe that one of the big things we can do is to use the storytelling approach to bring insight. Just like how the mother spoke about her challenges. It took us on a roller coaster. There were bursts of hormones in us, from oxytocin to dopamine, serotonin. The point I'm trying to make is that storytelling goes a long way to influence our perceptions. And it also takes our emotions along. And so we are able to remember, if you even take yourself as an example, sometimes you may have an experience, it's maybe associated with a particular smell or a particular feeling. And when you experience that smell or feeling, it calls back that memory. And so, storytelling is one of the powerful things that we can use to educate the public that these people are not just different. They are people. They are just like us. They have emotions as well. And there are things that they are great at. And so I believe that leading with storytelling is one of the very big things that we can do. And as journalists, we are blessed to be in that place of holding the pen and writing the stories, or holding the camera and telling the stories through these videos. And so I think we have so much more to do, but that's why we are here. And I think this is a great start. And so, yes, that's my
Thank you. And for Mr. Derek, and based on your experience also dealing with communities, what are some of the practical steps that we can take to support families in raising neurodiverse children?
Oh, okay. So, personally, I came from a community, it's called African, that is where I was born. And my community was, they had a mindset that all of these disabilities came from spirituality, as we usually relate them to. Yes, so personally growing up, I realized that most of my colleagues, as in children in the classroom or in the neighborhood, they were denied access to education and all some recreational centers that we, the neurotypical children, were meant to given a chance to play with, they were denied access to. Yeah, so personally, I think what we can do as a community is that we should empower persons that have been able to accomplish certain feats but are having autism. For instance, if a beautiful boy here who we know can do artifacts, who through education we can motivate him to be able to accomplish certain feats. If we empower a child like this in the future, he is speaking like he was born as a person with autism, but he's able to achieve this feat. It will sort of dilute the whole mentality that comes with autism. So I think this is one thing that we can do as a community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Derek. I'll hop back to Madam Ikia to us, not just as a psychologist, but also as an educator. We know that the government and the private sector and schools are trying their best in terms of teacher training to do better. But when it comes to neurodiversity, how can the government and private sector invest in teacher training to better accommodate these students in mainstream schools?
That is a very good question because one, we are asking that a conducive environment should be created. But the teachers themselves in the classroom, how much are they aware of these, not only autism, but these neurodevelopmental disorders? So I think that one of the best things we can do is to continue the education, training the teachers themselves. So for example, the teacher training curriculum, if we introduce some of these, I'm a teacher myself. I went to the training college, and so I went to the trainer psychologist. I didn't know some of these things. I had no idea. All that we knew was that the children may have difficult, but we didn't know much. So if you could incorporate some of these into the teacher curriculum, it will help. Not only that, these days the teachers are doing CPDs all the time. The private schools, the public schools as well, they are doing CPDs continuously. These can be incorporated there so that the few specialists that we have in the field, they employ, I don't want to use that word employ, but they engage them to continuously educate the teacher and the teacher population. I think that can go along with this so that they can do the implementation for us.
Thank you so much. I had an opportunity to encounter a parent who had an autistic child, and when I spoke with him, he had tears in his eyes. He said his child would go to school, would be taunted, would be bullied to the point of tears, and like Madam rightfully said, to the point that they don't even want to continue their education. It's really something that we need to show more light on, or throw more light on in terms of what can be done. I will jump to Mr. Derek and then come back to Dr. Netta. I would like to ask you, as a special educator at Al Ryan, what role do parents and caregivers play in shifting public perceptions about autism, and how can they be better supported? Because we know it's not an easy journey, especially being a parent taking care of the child. Some parents don't even understand what is going on with their child. Many people will not even take time to go to the hospitals or get the perspective of a counselor or psychologist. So what can the parents do to also throw that light on to tell the general public that autism is not really a stigma, or is not a stigma at all?
All right, so speaking from
an educator's perspective. I think before any parents can have the power to do anything, there is some form of information that they need to have. If the parent is clueless about what the child is going through, there is no way he or she will be able to stand. Sometimes it comes with compassion. If, like, usually the parent is compassionate about the child, so they will stand for. But imagine a child with autism is having a meltdown. It's new to the parent. She's clueless as to how to handle it. Yes, so I think it boils down to education. We educated, like GUBA Foundation has started this and doing all of this. I mean, the information will go, the parents will take hold of them, and now they will be used to whatever behavioral characteristics that their child is displaying. For instance, if, like I said, if a parent is clueless about meltdown, and the child is having a meltdown, how is he or she going to handle it? Okay, yeah, so I think the parents can do something, but an information has to come to them. They have to have an idea about what is happening. Like when we were seated, doctor mentioned that half of the parents, or let's say 90% of the parents, they don't have any idea about autism. And if you watch YouTube videos, if you get used to parents who are having persons, children with autism, they will tell you the first time they even heard about autism was after they had a child, and then the child was having these behaviors. Yeah, so I wouldn't want to go to straightforward with the parents. I would want to go to the top where the information has to come to the parents before we can get them to do what they are supposed to do. Because if they have the right information, they will, because they have the compassion for their child already. So you just fooling them with the right information, they will perform what they need to do. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Derry. And now, Doc. So, as a medical journalist, what do you think autism and neurodiversity, or how has it been historically represented in Ghana? Because we need to get to the roots of the problem. We know in Ghana, when you see someone who is different, immediately, oh, this person, they have some kind of case, or somebody has, they've done something bad, so their village people, their village people are chasing, them. So how has autism and neurodiversity been historically represented in Ghana and African media? And what exactly needs to change? Even when we want, like Mr. Derek rightly said, we need the information. So how can it be changed, and what needs to be changed?
Thank you very much. I think this is why we are seated here today, actually. Like the parents said, and like I think when the questions were being asked earlier, because of the setting we find ourselves in, there is a natural direction towards spiritual and supernatural explanations for things. And believe it or not, from history, journalists have contributed by how reports on these things have been done, leading with the negatives, the deficiencies, the disabilities. When you lead with that, and anybody picks something up to read, that's what's on their mind, right? And so, and that has been the style, since time immemorial. But in recent times, just like GUBA is doing, there's been increased highlighting of good things. I think in 2018, there were some awards given to Ghanaian autistic ladies who have become models, and I think the recent GUBA Awards, an autistic child, was awarded. Just like Derek was saying, awarding them and highlighting the fact that they have capacity. They are able to do good things. It's not just about the negatives, right? And so that is one very big thing, that choosing to highlight the positives, choosing to highlight the strengths, and then also in our writing, making sure that we lead with person-led attributes, humanizing the individuals, rather than highlighting the difference. I almost said disability, but we are learning, so highlighting the difference. I think that is also one very, very, very important thing. And in today's age, beyond traditional media, we have social media, which pushes the point that each and every one of us is an ambassador. If all of us from here today have learned something about autism, and we pledge that for the rest of the month and for the rest of the year, I'm going to post something educative, something I've learned about autism, that is like 1,000 steps up, right? And so I think we shouldn't leave the work to any sect of people. As we are learning, we are educating. And it starts from you. You can go home and talk to your family members. I learned that this and this and this. Please look out for this and this and this. And tell someone to tell someone to tell someone. In the age of social media, that's what people look at. Twitter, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Instagram, that's where everybody is. And so I believe mine is a charge to all of us, that the difference and the change we want to see starts with us. If we make enough noise about it, the government will hear that, we need to make provision for this. If it's in the health sector that we need to put, like we were discussing, adding a screening component right from, the early stages to it in school, adding it to the curriculum, even in the workspaces. We've not even spoken about that, but, making room for them, creating the space. And that's really what this conversation is about. So for me, I believe that it starts with all of us and we all have a gigantic role to play in this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Netta. Over to Madam Ikia. Yes, please. Thank you so much. We would like to find out how can the government and the private sector also invest in teacher training. Teacher training or being a teacher, you have the opportunity to engage with these children at a younger age, to see them for who they are. If there's something different about them, to notice them. We want to create an environment where the teachers are also open to learn that they are supposed to be a home or be a home for a safe space for these children. So we want to find out how can the government and the private sector invest in teacher training to better accommodate these neurodiverse students, especially in the mainstream schools as well.
Right. So, apart from what we talked about, I think that the government investing in infrastructure. We talked about the fact that the curriculum has to change. For example, if there's really in the classroom, if we can have sensory spaces where you would have materials that these children with certain abilities, or let's say certain disabilities, they are having something like sensory overload and stuff like that, they can go and then explore. If we have all these changes in the classroom, it can help. I don't know if GUBA, NGOs, things like that, you can provide the training for the teachers. You are talking about teachers, that's what your emphasis is on. And so we have to give the teachers the opportunity to learn. How do we do that? We've already mentioned some of them. Make the material also available for them. The things that they need to train the children, make them available. And if we can apply a lot of these things, I think that we can harness the potentials of these children to the maximum.
Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you. Another question again for Madam Ikia. Sorry, I keep on hitting on teachers because we've had the experience where we visited several schools for autistic children. The teachers will tell you that they are almost the first points of contact, and they spend a lot of time with these children, sometimes even more than the parents. Because nowadays, our parents are working hard to try and also pay for the fee, take care of the child. In our current economic state, we need parents, or our parents are doing the most to take care of their child. So at some point, they might not even be able to be there as much as possible. That's why we keep on throwing the light on teachers as well. I would like to just ask if you have any stories or experiences that you've encountered with maybe a child or a student who was seen as different in terms of your expertise in the psychological field.
All right, and this one I'll just even talk about KMS. Just and I think some of my colleagues here will agree. I think last year there was one of our students. He's gone through the educational system like that. He has peculiarities. You know, sometimes apart from like the doctor said, it's comorbid with other disabilities as well. And so this young lady, for her, she had to be sitting in a particular place in the class. You know, it had that sort of rigidity and all that. And not only that, she also had some impairment as well. And for her, when she was sitting, she didn't want to change. And the lecturer was talking, and the lecturer wanted her to come and sit. But when she called, the girl did not respond. You know, so it was like the lady was what? Disrespecting the lecturer. You know. So long and short and things like that. Later on, she was very overwhelmed. She came to see the college counselor and all this. So then I listened to her history right from child. I listened to the mother, and the experiences were like, as she was saying, right through that. So then I had to write to the college. I had to write that this person has special needs. This and this and this and that we can do for her. You know. And luckily enough, now we have gotten MasterCard now to also do what? Provide for her needs. And the lecturers are now
I think we need to give a round of applause for that.
The lecturers are now aware of the situation. So where she's sitting, nobody is messing up with her. You All right. So I think there are a lot of stories. My colleague counselors can tell you some of the stories that they have. You know. So we have all that. And let me just say that KMUST also has the disability policy. They've done so well. I think if you come to even Directorate of Student Affairs, there's a disability desk chaired by Prof. Benya here. I'm also on the committee. We have disability desks in the various colleges. And the thing is that they are doing so well to identify students with autism and other disabilities and to be at the forefront to help them to succeed in the university.
Thank you so much, Dog. Thank you so much. And for the good work that CMS, the Disability Center, and KCC is doing as well. Over to Dr. Pashwa. Would want to just ask, what responsibility does the media have in educating the public about neurodiversity and encountering stigma? One thing that normally fascinates me, about Ghana media is that anything that would trend, we push it. And sometimes the key issues or the main problems on the ground, we tend to ignore, especially with social media now. Everyone can bear me witness. Some of the things that you see as news, you are wondering, is this really news? It's gone are the days when maybe when we were younger, we'd sit to be watching TVP, that's our news. Now social media is publishing news to the point that even if somebody even falls at an event, they'll say, so and so actress falls at event, and you are wondering, is this really what we are supposed to be discussing? So we want to find out what responsibility the media has in educating the public about neurodiversity and encountering stigma as well.
Thank you. The responsibility is great, first of all. And in the social media space, really, there's not much that can be done because this is a free space. However, the journalists who are known for reporting credibly will have to distinguish themselves in terms of their reporting. Not simply just saying this and that, but providing resources, providing references, for some of these things, and making sure that we are putting out the right information. We cannot force down the right information down anybody's throat, but we can do our best to make sure that at least the media houses that are under the Ghana Journalists Association and all of those ones are doing the right thing, putting the right media out there. And I mean, actually, that is the best that we can do. But once it's out there, how tabloids and blogs and social media choose to twist and turn it is really beyond us. But if we are putting out the right information and we as individuals and the public are choosing what to consume and choosing what to repost, because sometimes we are the ones that make things trend. If something that should not be trending comes your way and you see it and you repost it, you are part of the trend, right? And so we should choose what to trend. If you get the right information out there about autism and you see another one that is ridiculing somebody, you choose which one to repost. If you don't repost the wrong thing, then the right thing gets to be out there for more people to see. And so, from my perspective, I think the journalists that are under, associations and umbrellas can be encouraged to put out the right information. But once they put it out there, I would also encourage us to help that right information make its way to, the faces and the phones and of the others. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doc. I'd like to hear from Mr. Derek.
Sorry, may I add something to?
Yes, of course.
From an advocate point of view. Now, I think the traditional media, they are sort of losing their power. Now we are not in a world where people would want to watch televisions or listen to radios. Just like Dr. Raimi said, the power starts from us. We all have our phones. We've come here, we've heard information about autism. We have the power to dilute the negative myths out there about autism. If we have our phones, for instance, myself, I have created a podcast on YouTube which is called The Awesome Show. The Awesome, now it's not just like awesome, but it starts with AU, which means a show that I'm going to talk about autism. It's a YouTube channel, it has social media handles on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. We have the message. The narrative out there, like I was telling my big brother minutes ago, I grew up thinking that all these kids are inhuman. Until I went to the university and I read genetics and realized that there are actually empirical reasons why children are born like that. So I have seen the light. I have my phone. The power is in my hand. Let's disseminate the information. We have the power. We are not going to wait on traditional media to give us a misconception about autism. All of us here, we are converged here to come take the information and disseminate it. If every single week or a day you choose to make a single post amplifying the fight for autism, the narrative is going to change. So that is what I will also add as an advocate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Derek, rightly said. And as we bring our panel to an end, we would like to just answer a question. Because you're a special educator at Aria, which is an international school, it's not every parent who can afford to take their child to an international school. The fees, if you can bear witness to that, are quite exorbitant. So we want to ask, as parents sitting at home, some who can't even take the child to even a special school, what are some of the things that they can do to help their child? I know there are coping mechanisms that they can use to also help their child improve in terms of how they cope. I will I'm asking this based on my experience with one of the special schools where I went in, and the educators were telling me they learn so much, they take so much time to teach their children, but when they go back to their houses for a 2 weeks vacation, By the time they come back, they've forgotten everything. And they are wondering, the child has been learning for 6 months, has been learning how to cope so that they get better, because they can't get better. They do have coping mechanisms that help them in terms of speech, in terms of how they study and everything. But he said for 6 months, you should have seen the look on his face. He was disheartened. In 6 good months, you take the child through extensive or intensive coping mechanisms, and by the time they get home for a 2-week break, everything on their 6-month journey, everything they've learned has disappeared, and they have to start from scratch. This is a real story on the ground. So we want to ask you, for parents who are home, what can they do? Because we don't want to just also put the task or the heaviness of the task only on the teachers, but want to ask, what can they learn, the little things that they can learn, so that when they are home taking care of their children, also improving as well.
All right, so speaking from a special educator's point of view, I think as a parent, the responsibilities even bigger on you, because you are the first stakeholder of the child. When it comes to the child's education, you are the first stakeholder. The first point of connection that the child finds is home, and you are the first person that they get to be. So, in as much as we are trying to find money within our busy schedules, we should as well make time to know exactly what the child is interested in. Let's find time, let's observe, let's pay attention, okay? And if we observe and pay attention and see what the child is actually interested in, like sibling here is interested in, let's focus on that aspect of his life that he can develop. For instance, we can all talk of Elon Musk. I'm not sure if you are supposed to give Elon Musk a long essay to write. He can be able to write like any other person. But he had his interest area. Let's focus on the interest area. So as a parent, if you realize that you have a child who has key interest in a specific field of life, as part of the curriculum in school, when the child comes home, maybe are autism might be scared or you might not be able to teach the child. Find a home teacher for the child. Because most of these children, they learn at a very slow pace. I am teaching a child who, when I picked him up, he was dyslexic, he had ADHD, and he has zero interest in what I'm teaching him. So you will teach him everything today, he will be able to go back to you. He goes home, he comes back, he can't tell you a single word. So it's like you've done zero work. So what I did was that I recommended the home teacher to the parent. So when I'm done with my job at school, he goes home and the home teacher also teaches him. So it's like most of the time we are taking him through what we are supposed to be doing in school. So as a parent, you should, if you are not in the position to teach your child at home, which most of us are unable to, find a home teacher for your child. One, first identify what your child is interested in. His interest, because most of the children with autism, if it is not something they are interested in, they won't do it. Okay, yeah. I'm speaking from a teacher's perspective. If they are not in, because it comes from motivation. Why do you want me to learn math when I can't substantiate what math will do for me in the future? But I can be able to manufacture a table, and I know that the table will be of use to my father. So I'm seeing the motivation and the reason why I'm supposed to know how to do a table. Okay, so identify, observe what your child wants to do. Make time for it. If there are resource persons that you can get to teach your child away from school, get them. Because in the end, it is your responsibility, like I said, you are the key stakeholder. So one thing I would like, as I suggested, is finding a home teacher for the child. First, identify what they are interested in. Find a home teacher or a resource person who they can go to constantly, learn more about what they are interested in. And you'll be marveled. Their colleagues will be learning at a faster pace, learning all the matter, learning all the density, which they might not even use after school. But your child will be able to know his interest area and will be someone of importance after school. Because they actually, and these people, like I'm saying, if they want to manufacture a phone, if they have interest in technology, before you realize they've been able to do exceedingly abundantly great in the key area that they are interested in. So, like I'm repeating again, just find your child's interest area. Try to find people or resource person who can help develop it, and then your child will excel. Yes.
Thank you so much. Let's give our panelists a round of applause for such an informative session. Thank you, Madam Ikea. Thank you, Dr. Passion. Thank you, Darren, for your time. We really appreciate it. We've learned so much. Please, let's give them another round of applause. Thank you so much for your time. If they can kindly come back for a group picture. I want to take just a quick picture. Hello, yeah, our panelists, if you can kindly come back just for a quick group picture. Thank you. Yes, please, thank you. Whilst you're taking the picture, on all our socials, we are named GUBA Foundation. If you can take your phones, we are on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, we are on which other platforms again? As many platforms as you can think. Our name is GUBA Foundation, so thank you. You can kindly take your phones and follow us as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So please, let's give it up to them once again. Yeah, please stay to the beginning of the night. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. If the media person can help me get the banner and flyer up. Thank you all. So GUBA Foundation has been sounding this trumpet, or we've had passion for our work since 2012. We're founded in 2012. We are under the GUBA Enterprise umbrella, and for the past 10 plus years, we've been raising the sound on healthcare, youth empowerment, and education. We've impacted over 15,000 plus individuals, and this is our second year doing Autism, I Am Not a Stigma. We partnered with KGL Foundation last year. This year, we've partnered with them again, and we've worked with KCC to bring together this powerful program that is the Autism I'm Not a Stigma launch. So we would like to duly announce that we have launched Autism I'm Not a Stigma 2025. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. Thank you very much. Hello everyone. So once again, please if you can kindly take your phones right now and go to GUBA Foundation. The platform you are most active on, if you can just take 5 minutes to do this, I'll really appreciate that. So if you can open your phones, go to GUBA Foundation. If you're on Instagram, girly, or you're an Instagram guy, please go to GUBA Foundation on Instagram and kindly follow. We're on Twitter as well, GUBA Foundation. Let's follow. We share necessary information, important information that can transform lives almost every single day. So kindly follow. So when you follow, just give me a thumbs up. So for Instagram, we're on TikTok as well. We are also on Twitter. We're on Facebook. The platform we are most active on. Just kindly give. So how many people have followed GUBA Foundation? All our platforms are named GUBA Foundation. And I've seen so little thumbs up. Can we get more thumbs up? Please don't give me thumbs up if you've not followed. Thank you. Not just for our space as well, but for what we are doing. Your follow is also contributing to your impact. Even though you might not be on the field running up and down, your follow also adds value to what we are doing. So thank you so much, and I'll hand over the microphone. Thank you.
you, Carol, and thank you all for staying into this time. Yeah. Pretty negative down behind the program. We were supposed to take closing remarks from Prof. Also then GUBA told me he's on his way. So let's take photo flags for GUBA. Then after a month we can take the closing remark for Prof. Yeah.
Thank you. One last round of applause for GUBA Foundation. Thank you. I'd like to invite my team to come up as well. I'm not alone. I'm here with able members of the foundation and of GUBA itself. I'm to Norbert, Dennis, and all the volunteers as well. If you are here, you're a volunteer, please come up to this side. We're just doing a quick vote of thanks. Bernadine. Okay. Please, you're asking assistant. Yes. Some of us, we don't like the limelight. So on behalf of our CEO, are all our volunteers up? And us, like everyone on the ground. Even if you're not wearing a t-shirt, that's fine. Kindly come up. Thank you. So on behalf of our CEO, Lady Deta Martin, we'd like to say a big thank you. Firstly, we'd like to thank, of course, the Almighty God for bringing this program to a close, but we'd also like to just sincerely thank KCC. Can we have a round of applause for University Council Secretary, Madam Bekia, Priscilla, Madam Kibra? We want to say a big thank you for the work on the ground and for when we reached out, you were open, your team was open to this partnership. So we are very grateful. I'd like to say a very big thank you to everyone at KCC as well, from the NSPs to the drivers, every single person. We're grateful. We would like to thank everyone else for coming. We want to thank our panelists as well. Let's give a round of applause to Mr. Derek and Dr. Peter Ashford, and also Doc from the KNUST Hospital. We want to say a big thank you for making time to come here today as well. To all our key special guests here as well. I'll leave it to the MCs to mention your names and thank you, but we want to also say a big thank you. This program couldn't have happened without your expertise, your support, and even your presence here. We are duly grateful as well. So many things. Thank you.
Thank you. We are fortunate to have the lead of MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program in our midst. He's the person of Professor Kofi Usudeko. He's going to give us the closing remarks. Please, let's welcome.
So this is the case of somebody who took his medication. And then it was a mixture. And then it was written on it that shake the bottle before you drink. So he decided to, I had done it already, he decided to shake the bottle. And because I think there was some Thanksgiving going on, at the time they called me, I had to do something. But I thank you. First of all, I'm starting, what's the full stretch of GUBA? What does that mean? Oh, okay. And sister and I had good times together when I was a student. I cherish the memories of all the guys. So, GUBA, MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program is part of the university. I'd like to quote something that our vice chancellor 2 seasons ago used to say, prophetic. He says, when you enter the school and come here, you are first of all student of KNUST before anything else. So on my desk came, we need to sign some MOU with. I said, I know nothing. We work with those. They are the bosses for that. They are the official face of to work together. So once you have spoken to, I'm calling the sister. Once you have spoken to the Pope, there's no provincial and bishop. So once those are met with you, we are a good supporting team. And secondly, I just want to be grateful that this is not mathematics. I've always told sister why, I don't know how I ended up in science and teachers are very like genetics, but this is very familiar territory. So I'm able to sensibly contribute to it. Number three, I'm a Presbyterian. I'm very old-fashioned, regimentalized kind of person. It is black or white. There are no reasons for gray. And I mean, looking at my own past, even probably the way I've handled students in the past. And I was here when you were giving about that student who wanted to sit in a particular place, that's my seat. And that's the way. You see, the program, we are mandated to take on at least 10% of our intake should be people with disability. But we've always depended on the visible ones. And this is in fact, one part, I think this year, I went around and when I see somebody, are you a student of campus? Said, yes. Do you know about the Mastercard Scholarship Program? Come and let us offer you a scholarship. And that's how we have done some of the things. But I also tell you that this is more dangerous because this is not visible. This is not, and if you read data, 1% of the people in the whole world have, and I like the way they call it, it's a spectrum. I wonder whether, you know, you see, for those of us who have been company put together for a long time, you only remember two types of students. The extremes. You don't remember the ones in the middle. I think it's a wake-up call for all of us. All of us have a bit of latitude to understand some of these people. And to close in the classroom, and again, I'm giving the fact that I'm Presbyterian, and I don't want you to be late to that class. And once I start the class, you won't come in, and that assignment, if it's 5 minutes late, I won't take it, you get 0, that kind of thing. Ghana, you're supposed to survive, and I heard my sister talk. Educating an autistic child is expensive. So my mother in Techiku, in the middle of nowhere, and I always talk about my past, one of 26 children of my father. Wow. And I'm number 17. And so, even now that death has taken us of us, we are still 14. Now, I always can tell the guy who ate a loop when he was a child. They pick the food, they play with it, they have choices. I don't like this, I don't like that. The fourth will say, my mother will blow out to me and say, "Feel that's the kind of regime that we grew up under. There's no room, there's no latitude. You have to conform or you perish. I shared this story with sister before. I do some teaching in America. And I'm glad that after many years, we are beginning to wake up to some of the needs. So now we have a computer science student who has progressive motor neuron disease, who can't use their hands. We've come to the point where, 10 years ago, that kind of, it won't happen. That we've employed the whole computer science graduate. They take the boy to the his brain is still sharp. He was part of their math, science and maths competition in the school of maths. And they have agreed, the university, we're making progress, that the boy will read the question, he would get the answers, and somebody else will write for him. So the visible ones, you see this one, you can see the boy, so it's very easy. But for somebody with a certain, and particular one is not very clear, how do you we are learning, we are building the plane as we are going along, and as we have built the capacity, I hope that the time will come where these people, and we have a certain impression about people with some disability of some sort. If you know the struggle, if you know the waves they have to swim against to get to where they are, of course they have to advocate for themselves, but nobody will do it for them. So we are just ambassadors, not just because we want to wear a nice t-shirt and walk around. That is really what they talk. So to me, my story. The school that I teach in America in summer, a boy comes up to me, and I have taught 4 or 5 years, nothing happened. So 1 year, a boy comes up to me, "Don't go." I said, "Yes." He said, "I'm an OSS student, OSS, Office of Social Services. That is where." So, Chef, yeah, cool. You are told yes. Then my first exam comes and says, "Okay, I'm an OSS student." I said, "Yeah, so?" He says, "It means that I have some neurological disorder that makes me panic when I do the exam in a big class. So he has to take it to a special room. And because once he's an OSS student, he has to give them time and a half. At the beginning, sister knows it. You go and advocate, the teacher will decide, "Oh, no more 10 minutes, we are coming." Because the time and a half, he doesn't understand. Time and a half means that if the exam is 2 hours now, he has to give it 3 hours. Hello, are you with me?
Yes.
And even though it's subject to abuse, nobody creates illness for himself that I want to be. Because yeah, you know what I mean? Because of Accra account, maybe exam. Oh, it doesn't matter. You won't fail it. I know that. Now, so let the advocacy continue, and will I GUBA for what you are doing? I like the quiet behind the scenes thing. Let's make sure that we're getting that, and together, because those that is doing so much, counseling center doing so much. I think my sister, we were there, was doubling as deputy dean of students and chief counselor and everything. I don't think that they still have given the prominence that I want their place to be. I hope that they can sack the main dosa to some new place and give the whole place as counselors.
I hope you got to that.
So yes, within the spectrum, the Asperger's syndrome, I got some guy. He has a photographic memory. He talks normal, but his social interactions are zero. 1% of us. So if are we about 50 here? But if you are 100 here, God bless you.
Thank you.
So thank you. Let's give it up to Dr. Well. In his words, let's continue with the advocacy. Thank you very much for your nice interaction and speech. God bless you. We are done for the day, but we are being told we want to create a room for some questions, general questions. You have a question, you have an experience you want to share, the platform has been given to you. Also want to just two, we are taking two before we take a comment from sister, and she will end up with closing prayer for us. Yes, just one or two. Yes, go, please.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I must confess that it was a very educative program and I really enjoyed it. Please, I have a simple question. What types of job training or employment programs have been made successful for individuals with autism? Thank you.
Thank you. So to the panelists, and last one. Any other question? Okay, let's take the last one. Not the last one.
I didn't really come early, but then when I came in from the beginning, when I came until the end of the program, I've been hearing spectrum. What exactly is spectrum?
Thank you. Thank you. Coming to Canada, the last one. Okay, please.
All right, thank you very much. So this has been a very impactful program, but then we have an issue with change, how we will be able to work on change. And to the point that even to the terms that we want to use in terms of referring to our brothers and sisters who find themselves in such situations, and we would want to refer to them as differently able. But then how well have we been able to adjust ourselves to be able to even use that term for them? So my question is, how can we be able to adjust ourselves as people, from our teachers to individual persons, to change access of a problem to us? We know what to do, but then how then we will do about the change?
Thank you. So we are responding and take care of that.
So I think the first question is what employment have been made available for people, persons living with autism, isn't it? And I think we've been talking about the fact that, and I think the word spectrum also coming, because it's broad. You know, they have different abilities, different peculiarities, different interests, different strengths. So what works for one person may not work for what? Another person. So it is up to us to identify the strengths of the individual and tailor whatever resources that is available to help achieve the person's potential. I think that is what happened. And a spectrum means it's not like it's one thing, you know, there's a variety, there are differences, it is broad, ranging from, for example, somebody with autism may not like to be touched, others can cling. Do you get it? And as Prof said, it is like one extreme to what? Another. In between, there are so many things. So that's why, I don't know whether I'll explain the word spectrum to you. Take it like a normal line. Do you get it? It varies from 0 to point, so many of them, but not up to infinity.
Thank you. We are just joining. We are joining by.
I think there's a third question.
Yes.
Anna will answer you.
Yeah, please, the head of cases just joined us. Please, let's give it up to her.
Yes, I think the third question was about change. How do we change? And I think this is how we change. We have started the change. Okay, we mentioned that it's from what you know that you share. And it's knowledge that brings enlightenment, and enlightenment brings change. So you choose to change. So you heard that you want to use the word differences. Different. So you start using it. Then you influence the next person around you to start using it. And I think we mentioned that on social media, you can use it there. When you observe that others are using it differently, you educate them that this is what we are trying to do. I believe that is simply how we can all contribute to the change.
Regarding the change, I would like to add something small. Imagine there's a room full of darkness, and then I put my phone light on. I am the only person that is lighting the place because I have the information. Now you put your light on, he put his light on, we all put our light on. Will the darkness be here anymore? The darkness will vanish. So it starts from us. You have the information, I have the information. Let's let the world see the light. We are starting today. If autism has always been new to you, you have the information now. Go disseminate the information, let the world know that persons with autism are not inhuman. Persons with autism are not IRA4. They are persons who are seeing the world from a different perspective. Like they are also able to do exceedingly greater things, but they do it differently. So let's start the change from ourselves. Individually, let's go out there and spread the message. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just riding on the words of change, which comes through education. I didn't pick much if there's room for integrating religious organizations into the education spectrum. Since there's so much spirituality connected with autism and the like, I don't know whether GUBA is into that. You know, the education, the organization, religious organization leaders, and even I think for marriage counseling, schools and religious organizations and other areas, where parents can be educated on this before they even bring up children. And the antenatal sessions, are there awareness creation at those levels? So that the teaching, the misconceptions cannot be corrected right from those foundations. I will just think of things like that. Thank you.
Thank you. So before Sister answers that, Prof, would want to give a comment.
Thank you. I drew attention earlier. When we're having a panel, there was something that came to mind, but because you didn't ask at the time. We're talking more of inclusion, and we think of how to integrate all these, our brothers and sisters with the challenge into the site. But with at their level, we have the special schools. There are things in place. You have them in the mainstream and giving special attention. So I was in my mind wondering, at what point do we converge? Because in developing them, it needs a speciality. It's more challenging. You mentioned the scenarios where maybe a 2-week vacation, they come back and almost everything is gone. So I think it should be a way of life. A number of them together, then they develop before they are integrated into the wider society, say at the tertiary level, right? But then we also are training them for the bigger society. So do we keep the special school, or do we have them? That's the point I wanted us to maybe all think through, not necessarily to give an answer now, so that we can use that to develop a framework to guide us. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, please. This is the last question or contribution. It's in between. I wanted to suggest that perhaps moving forward from here, we can work on having some resources available, develop resources that we can use, whether it's in secondary schools, primary schools. I mean, right from here, KNUST can take the initiative, you know, of putting together something that we can refer to, because I don't know if any of us here has come across something for themselves that, I mean, aside our counselors who have to deal with this all the time, but that we know we can refer to, you know, or we can use as our tools for advocacy, or our tools for, you know, I think this takes different forms and different tenets, but I think we can start from somewhere, you know, brainstorming about how we can, because the change does start from us, you know, how we can develop something, you know, that we can say that, okay, this is our contribution to the change, and we are pushing this out there to the world. you know, this is just off the top of my head, but I think it's something that we can start.
Thanks a lot about that. You want to react to this person's comments?
Thank you for that question. So we do partnerships with religious bodies as well. We actually do church tours. So GUBA is not just in Ghana, we're also based in the US and the UK. So every year we do a number of church tours. Even in the UK, we got one of the churches to create a sensory room for the kids because of the noise. If they get disturbed by the noise, they'll be able to move to the sensory rooms. And even after our launch, we're actually going to visit a number of schools and community centers, and we're actually visiting a church as well, just to also raise that awareness, because we know that in Ghana, we have a big religious body, and most of us believe in a higher power, so we actually do church tours as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And once again, let's clap for ourselves. Before Sister takes the mic, we would want to indicate that after here, we're going to remain seated. After Sister gives us the open and closing prayer, we're going to remain seated for refreshment, please. Okay, then I'm told when we exit and when we are leaving, we will get our package. I'm going to take a good picture as well. So please let's welcome Professor Francis Henry. He's going to give us a quick comment.
Thank you very much. And we've been seated for a while now, so I don't intend to keep us longer. A couple of things come to mind when I was listening to some of the closing remarks. I want to suggest that for consideration. The one is that in thinking about autism, because there's such a broad spectrum, we must not lose sight of the fact that autism can present with other conditions. So that in the bid to diagnose autism, we don't do what some other countries do, overdiagnose and lump everybody in. But some children may exhibit some other developmental conditions that may not necessarily be autistic. It may have the flair, autism, that's not autistic. So I think I'm saying that when in doubt, consult a professional. Let's take a good assessment and be sure that we're having the diagnosis right. So that's the first thing. The second is something that Dr. treated my thinking along those lines and with the religious bodies. I think that one of the ways we can start doing something is to consider forming a support group of parents who have children with any developmental disorder, including autism. Where can we start this? We can probably start this from our churches. The professional may not be part of it. It's just parents talking to parents about our problems. And by so doing, we normalize it. So you get to say, so let me one, so that our teacher just knowing that somebody understands you or what you're going through has a name. And it makes you go, okay? So let's consider that. And if I may challenge ACC, we've never done group therapy or group counseling. We can initiate something following GUBA on this initiative. An evening of support session. You may be amazed to find how many people in Kumasi, just around us here, have children with difficulties who may want to come for a 1 hour group. I don't even want to call it group therapy or counseling. Just solidarity. We are in this together. And maybe one of us at the center facilitating it. I think it would be a good initiative. So thank you very much for considering. On that note, let us pray and give thanks to God. This is time well spent. May I please ask that you stand since you've been sitting this way. And so, gracious God, resurrected brother, we thank you for today. We thank you for these hours we have spent here. We thank you for what we have learned and for what we have experienced. We thank you for the beauty of our differences. We thank you for the support we get from each other. We ask you to please continue to bless us and sustain us. We pray in a special way for families who have children with difficulties. We ask you, Father, to strengthen them and to support them. May they always know that you are with them and that with you they can do all things. We thank you for organizations like GUBA, who is also helping to bring hope and light to all of us. And we thank you for ourselves that you have chosen us to go out and be your ambassadors in making the change. We thank you that you support us. As we live here, we will continue to live in your presence and bless us now and always. We have asked all these in the name of Jesus, our brother. Amen.
Amen. A very good thank you, sister. Please let's prepare once again. Please, we are going to have a quick picture, then after that we can exit for our refreshment. So whilst you are taking your refreshment downstairs, we are talking. So please, if you can come forward for our pictures. Please, please. Because we are all coming forward. So just hello, please. Standing.
Or should I bring it? Mr. King, can you see it?
Already.
Mr. MC, I think we are done. We can go. I tempted to my front. This should happen. Hey, how are you? Long time. I only see your face for some time. Yes. Sometimes I come. We can run.
How did
Two questions of our friend. I mean, oh my, they wouldn't have been Okay, please look here. Manila Street. Manila Street, that's it. All right. One last bit, sir. Go. Go. Okay. Since you are taking one last bit, all right. Please, we are waiting for you. Go. Last one. Okay. Up to 1 minute.
Yes. You're all right. What's your number?
Pop-up, no. Sorry, what's it? Machine.
Thank you so much. I'm going to